Hello, hi there. Welcome to Guiding Voice podcast series, The Guiding Voice for a Better Future. This podcast is to help students and young professionals to shape their careers. Dear listeners, in every episode, we interact with industry experts or academicians or global leaders or coaches to drive some insightful conversations that will help our audience learn great things. Also, we share an interesting trivia or fun fact about the IT world towards the end of every episode. Thank you for tuning in. This is Naveen and with my co-host Sudhakar. So today we are going to discuss an important topic which is self-discovery and self-mastery. And we are pleased to welcome Saloni to our show today.
Dr. Saloni Singh is a leading life, self-mastery and parents coach from India, a Master Practitioner in NLP, a mindfulness trainer, blogger, author and podcast host. Dr. Saloni is a doctor gynecologist by qualification and her previous profession. She was working in Obs Gynae at NHS London when she decided to pursue her calling to understand the human mind, emotions and spirituality. Dr. Saloni coaches leaders about mindfulness, raising self-esteem in self and children, parenting and relationship challenges. She has been working as a full-time life coach with individuals and families globally for more than 13 years now. Dr. Saloni has written a book, How to Stop Overthinking in 3 Minutes, and she hosts a podcast, Raising Parents. Dr. Saloni, welcome to our show.
Thank you so much, Sudhakar. Thank you for having me.
Dr. Saloni, can we talk a bit about your career? You took a bold decision of quitting the doctor profession and getting into the coaching profession. How did this happen?
Yeah, sure, Sudhakar. So I think since I was a young child, actually, I was always intrigued, understanding about human emotions, human mind and spirituality. I was a good student and, in our times, if you are doing good in school, usually you would end up being an engineer or a doctor. I didn't like physics, so I chose biology and I became a doctor. But I realized in my first year of MBBS that my heart didn't lie in medicine. And I was more interested, in reading psychology, spirituality, these kind of books. So once I became a doctor, I still felt that this was not the right profession for me. And I think it got reinforced when I was working in a very good hospital in London. And I kept feeling that this is not my higher calling and my purpose. I think that's when I started looking for different careers related to, psychology. And I heard about life coaching. In UK at that time, it was quite a well-known profession. And I did my training into life coaching and there was no looking back after that. So I resigned from my job and I started as a full-time.
Wow, that is indeed a bold decision.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So what do you call self-discovery? How do you define it?
So I think if I take my example as well, the first thing is self-discovery is all about knowing yourself. So it's about self-awareness, really understanding that what is your heart says. For example, if you're thinking about a profession and professional sense, you want to discover yourself, it's important to understand that what is it that you really feel, what makes you feel alive, what you really love to do, for example. And if you feel that you have this feeling of accomplishment and feeling of fulfillment and satisfaction in that profession, that would be discovering yourself in that profession. And generally, if we take self-discovery, it's all about knowing yourself, how your mind works, how your emotions work, and what are you here come to do basically on this planet. That is also part of really knowing your purpose and self-discovery.
Saloni, how can one discover self?
So I would say simply, first of all, starting with self-reflection. So I always recommend that taking some time to sit with yourself, because currently in our times, I think everybody is rushing to do things and we have become more of a human doings rather than human beings. So it's like taking a step back and really sit with yourself in stillness. You can do that by writing or journaling as well. You can start writing your feelings, your emotions, what you think, and slowly you will get in touch with what is that your heart and soul really want? What is it that you think about yourself? So understanding your relationship with you, your relationship with the world, with other people, that's where how self-discovery begins. And you get to know more and more about yourself. And that's where the journey begins, really.
Interesting. So, journaling might help one discover themselves. And we also come across this term, self mastery. How do we define self mastery, Saloni?
So I would say that self-mastery is the next step. So once you're aware of yourself, once you become aware, okay, this is what my thoughts are. Let's say somebody's having limiting thoughts and some fears maybe and some doubts about themselves. Once they become aware of those thoughts, those patterns, it can be certain habits as well. Once you know them, then you start overcoming them, and then you start walking on a path of becoming the person you want to become. And that is a journey towards self-mastery. So basically, in a simple terms, I can say that self-awareness is the first step, which is self-discovery, and bringing that self-awareness into action, into really day-to-day action, like on a daily basis, how you're working in your profession, how you are being in your relationships with people, with your family. That is a process of self-mastery where you are able to master your mind, your emotions, and your work, and in relationship with other people as well. It can be anything like how you treat people, how you communicate with people. So including everything basically when it comes into action. So it becomes a place where you are leading with your purpose, where you are leading with a higher level of understanding of your mind and emotions. So that would lead you to self-mastery.
So can you please share some ways to master from self-discovery to self-mastery? What are the steps like?
Yeah, sure. Wonderful question, actually, because a lot of people, I think, tell me that they know, okay, this is something which is actually stopping them from living their life of full potential. And most of the time, they don't know how to actually cross the bridge of knowing something and actually, becoming. So I would recommend, and this is a beautiful time, beginning of a new year, that you can start with actually, first of all, knowing where I want to be in life. So first of all, once you clearly recognize your vision and your goal in the life, that this is who I want to become as a person, then you can take steps. So for example, if somebody has a short temper and they really want to become more patient, a person who doesn't react and want to respond in any situation, any challenge that comes their way, then they can actually start noticing. The first step again would be that really becoming an observer of their actions. So every time they lose temper, they have to sit with themselves. Again, I would say really taking that time to sit with yourself and maybe in meditation or just like doing nothing and reflecting on that, okay, what is it that triggered my, temper? What is it that made me react like that? And once you start becoming aware of that, then thinking, okay, what can I do next time so I won't react in the same way? What will I do next time that I can respond calmly? Maybe it can be as simple as just taking a few deep breaths. It can be as simple as just practicing every single day meditation or deep breathing. So when a situation arises where they lose their temper, they are able to, take that breath and pause and then respond with the best possible way. So self-reflection is one. Noticing meditation is another way of doing it. So there are some other ways as well, like learning how to manage your emotions. So there are different tools. For example, emotion freedom technique is one of the techniques I teach people as well, where people can really become more accepting of their emotions rather than pushing them away or resisting or fighting with them, accepting their emotions and then transcending the emotions. So emotional intelligence and emotion management is something all of us can learn, and I think all of us can do better. And that leads to self-mastery in life, in any area of our life, and help us become the person we really want to become.
Wow, so much from self-discovery to self-mastery. Saloni, we also hear about this another term, self-actualization. Can you please shed a bit of light on this too? Because this is becoming more and more intriguing and interesting, learning more about self.
Yeah, sure. Self-actualization, as that this term has come from Maslow's, hierarchy, and this was the highest level of, being self-actualization. And self-actualization really means that a person is living at the utmost highest potential. Basically, they're living at a level of maximum capability. So really being the best version of who you are. So I would say this is like the next step in self-mastery. So you're really, learning about your mind, being the person you want to become, managing your emotions really, really well. You are being as loving, as kind as you want to be in your relationships. And you're moving on this path of becoming the best version of yourself. That's where you're leading to self-actualization. Really full basically fully living your best potential and feeling fulfilled in the process as well. So that would be a simple way of saying in a practical term that self-actualization is. and definitely it will include a spiritual path, because without really understanding deeply who we are, I think it will be very difficult to reach that level. So definitely it has a spiritual dimension to that.
Interesting. So I have a curious question. What after self-actualization? Is it like something of nirvana sort of?
So there is a beautiful saying, it's coming to my mind, that before enlightenment you do dishes, and after enlightenment also you do dishes. So basically, even after self-actualization, you do the same thing. Exactly. If you are working as a professional, you do that. If you're raising your children, you do that. If you are cleaning your house, you do that. The point is, of course, you're doing it from a place of complete peace. You're doing it from a place of contentment, fulfillment, and you're living basically from those higher energy levels, we can call them, or higher vibration, we can call. So I think that is the whole difference between a person who has attained maybe self-mastery or who is self-actualized. So they are doing everything in practical life the way anybody else is doing. It's just that they're doing it with a complete place of peace, and whether you call it nirvana or whatever, but it is that living from a place of complete contentment and peace, and maybe a lot of love and gratitude here.
Awesome. One last question for today, Saloni. With your experience, having taken a bold decision of quitting a high-paying profession and starting your own life coaching business, I would say, or following your passion and the calling. So what is your guidance for those aspiring to follow their passion? Because many a times people come up with their own version of reasons and their own inhibitions, and many more constraints come their way, and they fail to follow their passion because of whatever reason.
Yeah, that's a wonderful question actually, and a lot of people actually ask me this question, and especially for young people and anybody who want to kind of switch careers, I think it's really important. So first thing I always tell them is that, again, it's very, very important to first of all sort out your relationship with yourself, because what do I mean by that is knowing what is it that is driving you, your belief system, your value system. How do you see yourself? Are you seeing yourself as a limited version? You have some fears about yourself. Do you doubt yourself? Because if that happens, then that is going to limit you, whatever profession you choose, even if you're going for your passion. And the second step is to really understand that your passion, whatever you have recognized that your passion is, and they do a good analysis, not from like what other people are saying, because sometimes what happens that people see other people doing really good in a profession and they think, oh, I can do that as well. So you have to really connect with your heart and soul and feel that, is this something that brings me alive? Is this something like, my heart is singing when I feel about this particular profession and I feel really good? If it is like that feeling of joy comes to you, then definitely it's your passion. Then comes the next, kind of homework, that you analyze it. You do some of your research around it and understand what does it entail. Because even in order to make your passion your profession, there will be a lot of steps. For example, if you are an artist, for example, and all artists love to, do their art, and they're usually good in their art. But with an art, there is some work. Maybe they need to market themselves. Maybe they need to learn a business model that will make them profitable. So all that is part of creating, your passion into a profession, because you will need to do that mundane thing as well. You will need to understand the nitty-gritty of how to become, a self-employed person. And it's not that magically you will just be able to earn money from your passion. So that is part of the whole process. So it's very important to understand that whether you are willing to do that hard work, to learn all those things, to be able to go through that difficult, phase as well, when in the beginning it can be challenging. So taking that into account, once you're sure that yes, this is what I want to follow, and I'm not going to be limited by my fears or my doubts, and I can do the work involved in becoming a successful, professional in my passion, then definitely go ahead with that and do it with all your energy, all your positivity, and a lot of love, of course. And this is my simple advice to anybody who is aspiring, that do not let other people or society's, voice to stop you. Once you are clear on your path, then you go ahead with the right information, and always ask for help. Always take support if you need. And there's a lot of help is available actually in current days. So we actually are living in a wonderful era where information is not a problem. We can get information from Google, YouTube, anywhere. Yeah, and there are a lot of mentors available as well. So that's my simple advice.
Wow. Follow your passion and follow your calling, and no need to get restricted with social conformity. Amazing. Thank you so much, Saloni, for joining us today. This has been an amazing experience to talk about self-discovery, self-mastery, self-actualization, and at the end, nirvana. Really appreciate you taking time.
Thank you so much. I really enjoyed the conversation, the questions. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Saloni, for accepting our invite and being part of this show.
Dear listeners, to know more about our speaker and the content, refer to the show notes and visit our followers on social media. We are available on LinkedIn, Facebook, Insta, Twitter, Pinterest, and also on YouTube. Just search for The Guiding Voice and then follow, like, subscribe to us, and also please share within your network. In addition, please feel free to email us at The Guiding Voice for You. That is TheGuidingVoice 4 as a digit, U as a letter at gmail.com, or WhatsApp us on India number 9494587187, and we will be happy to collaborate with you.
Alright, I think Sudhakar, can you also talk about the exciting opportunity of our audience getting featured on this show?
Sure, Naveen. So guys, of late, we have been receiving a lot of career guidance related questions from our regular listeners through YouTube, LinkedIn, WhatsApp, and email. And we are responding to them one-on-one basis. Now, we are pleased to open up a new mode of interacting with you all while providing a chance to broadcast yourself. If you have any questions related to education, career guidance, or a specific IT function, just send your voice message through speakpipe.com/theguidingvoice. We will play your question in your own voice along with the answer either from us or our expert panel in our future episodes. Hope you will utilize this wonderful opportunity.
Alright, so it brings us to the trivia segment of today's episode. And today's trivia is about PayPal. I'm sure most of you might have heard about PayPal, which is one of the companies started by Elon Musk. So, do you know, before being known as PayPal, the company went by what name? Maybe you can start thinking, but as per the ritual, here is the answer. The answer is Confinity. So, Confinity was the name which was considered for PayPal before it became popular as PayPal. Interesting, isn't it? Thank you for listening. There is more in store, folks. Stay tuned. Have a wonderful time. Take care and be safe. Until next time, bye-bye.